All right, I'm back again with Graham Smith from Voluntary Japan. Graham, you're actually the first return guest I've had on the podcast. But we said that I'd like to have you back on, and you've had a lot of. It's been a very interesting month for you, hasn't it? Yeah, a couple months, right?
Yeah. October was particularly insane for
Right.
sure.
Yeah.
But glad to finally be back here. I know we've been talking about this, so yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for
So,
having me again.
yeah, no problem, no worries. Thank you for being back on. So, let's start with let's start on a positive note. You've your career has changed a bit. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right. I was for about 7 months doing full-time blogging on Steemit and just focusing on Voluntary Japan, going down to Tokyo to interview people like Ned Scott from Steemit, Roger Veer, focusing on that and the unschooling thing, basically full time and trying to have a go at that. But unfortunately, with the way the market went with Steemit and such, uh, I don't know, it all kind of came together, and especially last month, some events unfolded that I know you're familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But everything kind of came together to where I didn't have the kind of what I needed really to move forward anymore, and also I have a family, so to provide for them. So yeah, I'm back to teaching English a little bit for adults. But the funny thing is, I actually feel really good about it.
Mm.
It feels really calm and peaceful right now.
It's a
Um,
bit less stress, I guess
yeah,
knowing
a
you
bit
have
of
that money coming in.
and a bit of structure,
Mm-hmm.
So doing the full time blogging without your own dedicated office, and then trying to do, unschooling, an office separate from your house, I guess I should say, unschooling and scheduling. So I don't know, shit got crazy. It was an awesome 7 months, but yeah. So now I'm still doing all the blogging, and I've I've significantly decreased the blogging on Steemit. So I'm just focusing on what I started with pretty much. I'm still on Steemit as Voluntary Japan, but I'm not really blogging under my old account,
Okay.
Kafkanarchy 84, that much. And I'm focusing on YouTube and Patreon. And I'm doing less content, but I'm trying to make it um, higher quality content, or at least
Right.
at a more peaceful pace for me. Like, I don't feel like I need to crank out three or four posts a day now. Um, and I always try to make sure they're quality, but at the same time, it was pretty stressful trying to put out 3 or 4 posts a day, and that was my whole world. So
Right.
yeah, a lot of shit's been has changed, and since the whole Adam Kokesh whatever, that whole debacle, even my views on kind of libertarianism and politics and all that stuff has changed as well. So,
Right.
but it's nice to be talking to you tonight. I feel like I'm in a bit more of a peaceful place here. So
Well, that's good. That's
yeah.
good. So, I'm not 100% sure what happened with Steemit. Did they? I know they switched networks or something, or what exactly happened to sort of push you away from writing as much on Steemit?
Yeah, Steemit is they didn't switch networks, but I don't know if we had talked about this last time I did your show, but there were two 10+ hour outages of the whole network like within 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Like, it's akin to like the whole Bitcoin blockchain being down for a day twice in 2 weeks. So
Right.
that's a lot of money, and I'm not a big investor, but Steemit is dependent on investors and people that believe in the tech. So that kind of, um, raised my suspicions, I guess you'd say, a little bit. And then some of the blogs from Ned, who I mentioned earlier, the CEO, who I've had a lot of respect for. It just seems like they're taking it away from the steemit.com user interface. It was pretty blatant, actually, the way he said it. He said he's starting a new project, which they're calling like Destiny or some code name like that, and they're shifting attention away from steemit.com. And I felt like, hey, what the fuck? I have been all about steemit.com for 2 years now. Like, I've made it my life.
Right.
You guys said at the beginning this was the destiny, this was the thing. And just kind of figured out that although I wouldn't call it a scam, a lot of people have been had.
Hmm.
And it's similar to Dan Larimer, who was the co-founder of Steemit. He pretty much left BitShares to start Steemit. Then he left Steemit to start EOS. And now nobody can sell their EOS because the mainnet's not launched yet. And I just started to feel like, it really, I hate to say pump and dump, but it really is starting to feel like I see who's always winning from these exchanges. So then I started to kind of to back off a little bit. And due to basically just the markets being down, I started to cash out and power down a lot. So
Right.
my account, Kafkanarchy84, is just a shadow of the mighty man it used to be as far as Steam power goes. But it's kind of sad, but at the same time, like I said, I kind of feel good about the evolution. And at the end of the day, it's all about the content, anyways. And if I can, the small audience I do reach that responds and is interactive, actually means more to me than trying to cast some huge net
Right.
just for popularity or whatever. So I guess that's the long and short of it. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I basically just figured out that their focus never was about making the Steemit user interface, Steemit.com, the main thing. And that's evidence for anyone that's been there for any amount of time. I mean, the developments that have actually happened to the user interface have been things like a button changing here or there,
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
oh, we got night mode. I can toggle night mode now. It's like, well, yeah, it's been 2 years and millions of dollars later. I think the attention's probably somewhere else.
Yeah.
Steam as a cryptocurrency, I don't know. I think it might do all right when their new smart media tokens come out in a few months. I just got tired of it, to be honest, trying to keep up with it all. So
Right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I was a bit unfamiliar with what exactly went down, but I'm not going to try and paint all cryptocurrency with the same brush because they're all different. But there have been a lot of issues with altcoins here in the past just year or so. So it's
Definitely.
it gets people a bit skeptical to even dip their toe in the water if they're even contemplating it.
Yep. Yep. And I think the other end of the equation that's kind of discouraged me a bit was the regulation, which I don't know if you've been watching, but like I've personally seen here and in Tokyo and Bitcoin circles, people are so afraid of not doing things by the book that the original utility of a lot of this stuff I feel like is decreasing. I don't know if you saw the news about that guy I think he's in the US. He invested a few thousand into crypto and ended up making like 400 G's in the crypto market.
Wow.
But it was all on Coinbase. He never cashed any of it out into fiat.
Yeah.
But when tax time rolled around, the way the laws work,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you cash it out. The market had already crashed back down, right?
Oh, man.
But
Yeah.
he still owed like hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. And he's like, I don't fucking have the money. I didn't even, because they keep
Cash it
track
out,
way,
right.
the way they tax it. And it's like, it's just like, I've become disillusioned a bit. Like I'm holding on to Bitcoin Cash because I believe in Vera, I believe in that, and a few others. But at the same time, I look around and I see even anarchists like, well, we got to use this exchange, and here's how you pay your taxes. And it's like, well, damn, I'd rather have paper money. This stuff is,
Yeah.
way more traceable. So, yeah, it's kind of like a little bit of that, and then like you said, you got all the shysters, and it could be something good. But I think a lot of people are getting a little bit tired
Yeah.
of trying to follow, which coin's good, which coin's bad. I don't know. There's 30 million ICOs, and
Right.
so
And they all have like different philosophies behind them and stuff, and you just kind of for a newbie looking into it, it's just it's overwhelming, and most of them would just throw their hands up and be like, who cares,
yeah.
So okay, yeah, I mean that's
That's for sure, and it's not that hard to make like a slick, web page saying, "Here's my new." You can get a great idea like, "I'm gonna bring about world peace with my coin," and then you just make a slick website, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be world peace."
and call
Gonna
it
invest.
Peace Coin or something.
Yeah, peace coin, and then then I'm on my yacht, and peace coin tanks, but I've already got my the cream skimmed off. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's kind of discouraging, but I do think it will prevail in small circles that want to use it as it's meant to be used. So
I think eventually it's going to digital currency is just going to win out.
yeah, yeah.
When I first heard about it, I think I mentioned this. It reminded me of that game Shadowrun. Do you remember that at all? Like how
I
they
remember you mentioning that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
they use like digital credits or something. But when cryptocurrencies first came out, that's just what I imagined. And a lot of you know I wouldn't necessarily say money, but a lot of currency is digital anyway. Like even fiat currency is just numbers in a system somewhere. You know, so
for sure. And like, look at here in Japan. Like, you go to anywhere now, and it's like Apple Pay,
hmm
Suica, Pasmo, whatever kind of card you got. So it's like right on the precipice of just tipping off.
hmm
Um, but then yeah, like Roger Ver, he tweeted here. I don't know if I'll hold that up, but it says censorship resistance via decentralization supersedes government authority.
right.
Like he's one of the few saying things like that, you know.
hmm
Whereas the rest are like, how much profit can we make and how can we mainstream? It's like, well, all right, I know a lot of people hate Roger Ver, but to me, that's the idea. So like,
Yeah,
and it mainstreams, like you said, it's gonna happen. Then it's gonna be you choose,
right,
There's gonna be
right.
a group of people that are like, well, I'm not fucking telling you everything about this, and I'm gonna use the technology to mask my transactions or whatever. So
Well, it's just like in investing in the stock market or in stocks. Also, there's risk in there, and there's definitely people that know more about it than others. So there's always going to be a level learning curve to these sorts of things, and I just think people who blatantly just dismiss it now, in 10, 20 years time, you know, they're going to
yeah,
be wishing they didn't. But at the same time, with the volatility of cryptocurrencies right now, who knows what direction it's going to go to, you know?
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah, and like that guy in the States that got got his ass taxed off. Well, I guess he's hiring lawyers now to try to fight it, but that's so discouraging too. I mean, even to a non-anarchist, non-voluntarist, oh, I'm interested in cryptocurrencies, but wait, if I make a profit and
Right.
I'm not, am I in debt because of the profit? Like that's so fucking government, right there, isn't it
Yeah.
though? Like if you make too much of a profit, you're gonna pay even more. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
so ass backwards, but
They got to get they got to get their grubby fingers on it somehow, So
yeah,
I think that's why
yeah.
they
Even if
hated
they
it
don't
in the
understand how
beginning.
it works,
Right? Yeah, that's why
yeah,
they hated it from the get-go. So we can't tax it. We can't. It's more anonymous than other forms of currency. Yeah, I can understand why people in power hate it. And want to
for sure.
either get rid of it completely or control it in some way. So
Yeah,
that's just it's always how it devolves. Always how it devolves.
totally. And it's funny because they hate math because you can't cheat actual math. If you got a system based on sound equations and algorithms, there's no room for politics in there. So
Right. Well,
yeah.
I think all politicians hate math pretty much. You
Oh
show
yeah. Oh,
or
definitely.
not just math, but just
Economics.
factual information. No matter what side, it's like, oh, you say this. Well, actually, here are the facts. Fake news or whatever. It's like, okay,
True.
most people don't seem to live in reality anymore. You know,
True. True.
everyone's chasing some sort of fantasy. But um,
Yeah.
so you've been doing something else pretty positive here for a little while. You're training for a marathon, is that right?
Yeah. The Shizuoka Marathon 2019 in February.
Okay.
So February
Wow.
24th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this will be the second. I did my first marathon here in Niigata City in 2017,
Okay.
and that was something I never knew I would do or never even thought. I wasn't even a runner, but it just hit me. I was actually working at a bar, and I was walking to work and just looked up and saw the sign for it, and I liked the color scheme or something about the design. And something just happened. I was like, I'm gonna just fucking do that. I don't know why, but I'm gonna do it. And
Well,
then like even me to myself, I was like, you're fucking crazy. You're not gonna do it. And the other voice
that's cool
inside
though.
was
I
like,
mean,
I am.
yeah, it's funny how just
Yeah,
walking by and seeing something just
triggers something,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, triggers, yeah, triggers something in you.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you were inspired by that to run it, and you said, why the hell not? So
Yeah.
there was no other sort of motivation. You never really like ran before, or unless you had to, pretty much.
Yeah, I no, and I ran like a little bit in school, but I hated it
Hmm.
because I was never good at it, and I felt like this time I just made it my own somehow, like
Yeah.
because I wasn't competing with anyone, and I think I needed something like that, like some kind of outlet. So for me, it's like half of it's about being outside and like listening to ambient music and running through the city or running through the hills, and for the mental,
Yeah.
the clarity I get from it. And so yeah, so I signed up for. Um, I bit off a huge chunk that I couldn't chew after the Niigata Marathon and tried to sign up for an ultra marathon
Oh man.
around Mount Fuji, which was like 70 miles, like 100K, something like that. And
That just
I
sounds
tried to
brutal.
train in the snow here. I had, I was putting screws in the bottom of my shoes, talking to like these hardcore pro runners. And then we moved into this house. I got sick, and I was like, all right, I just gotta
Yeah.
swallow my pride and say, fuck that.
Now,
So
hold on. You mentioned something about
yeah,
putting screws in your shoe.
yeah.
What does that do? I've never
So
heard of people doing that before.
yeah, so on the ice, it's dangerous and hard to run, and it snows a lot here. So I have a pretty hardcore runner buddy who told me, yeah, you can buy these little, screws at the short screws at the hardware store with like the
Mm.
hexagonal heads on them.
Okay.
Screw those into the soles of your shoes like you make cleats. It totally worked. Like I felt invincible, like on ice, but at the same time, it's hard to run in
I'm
shoes.
Yeah. I was gonna say I'd be afraid of like having holes in my feet,
Yeah,
from a screw or something.
trust me, I tested it out
Yeah.
quite extensively because I didn't want to stab my feet. But yeah, so that, just signed up for this Debacle one, and so yeah, I'm kind of trained for that, and it's pretty enjoyable. I actually made a little course here in my town now, and I think I'm gonna run it tomorrow, maybe. Just a little mini race. I'm gonna end at an onsen, a hot spring. Um,
Nice.
Maybe like a 12-mile run. So
Oh, that's
it's
nice.
like a hobby, it's fun. It's fun. Keeps me sane.
Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I'm more of a gym guy, but when I do go out running, I'll run maybe 2 to 3 kilometers, in a single go, um, and many years ago, I used to run just to lose a lot of weight, and I know that after you run for an extended period of time, you just kind of get this. Everything just feels more peaceful, and like you're not worried about anything. Like even the most stressful thing, you're just like, yeah, whatever. Like
Yeah.
you feel good, and that running just makes you feel at peace. And so that's is that another reason why? Like you said, the
Oh
mental
hell
clarity
yeah,
you get.
for
Yeah,
sure, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, my head's a mess half the time, man. But after I go run, I don't know if that's what they call it, the runner's high or whatever. But I feel like the files in my head just get kind of sorted out. It's like my buddy Patrick told me. He was a runner
Defrag,
too.
defrags your head. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
That's exactly the word I was looking for. But it's like you have conversations with people that you've been afraid to have, and like you role play all this weird shit. None of it's planned, but by like you said, once you're so far into it, you just kind of hit this kind of peaceful, almost surreal place where it's like, all right, whatever. I'm ready to handle whatever now.
Hmm.
For me, it's like it gives you some space, between you and all the stuff that's in your head,
Yeah.
and it kind of helps, to yeah, defrag and reorganize, and even to just figure out what stuff is not really important
Yeah.
that you may have been thinking about or may have been taking up space. So,
Right.
and I've experienced a high too, a little bit, which has kind of been more pronounced than just that defrag, where it's like you feel like you've done a drug. Yeah,
Yeah.
so
That's
that's cool too. And combined with like I listen to like ambient playlists. Um, it gets pretty trippy sometimes, depending on when you're running. If you're running at night, it's like almost kind of taking a visit to another planet. So
yeah.
yeah, I'm not competitive really in any sense with anyone other than myself. But
Right.
you
Yeah. I
know,
was gonna ask what time of the day do you usually run, or do you have a set time, or do you just go whenever you have the time?
I just go whenever I have the time.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of times that ends up being late at night, which I actually prefer.
Yeah.
Kind of, antisocial and introverted sometimes as much as I blog, but I like just the empty paths at night. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
definitely less people at the park that I go running in at nighttime, but they shut all the lights off around 10, so
Oh,
it's
okay.
almost pitch black. At that point, I'm
That's
I'm I'm
scary.
I'm glad I have enough vitamin A to kind of help me see, but um,
Yeah, yeah.
I found if I just it's easier for me to exercise at nighttime. Um, it's just easier. There's less of a mental obstacle there, I guess. But I always find that if I get up in the morning and do like strenuous exercise in the morning, the hardest part is just actually getting out and doing it. But once you do it, the whole rest of your day just makes the rest of your day less stressful, and it's that's for
Totally.
me. I think that's the best time to do it. The hardest part is just getting out there and
Getting
doing it in the
yeah.
morning. Because you don't in the morning you just feel like I don't want to do anything. I need 4 cups of coffee before I can even look at
Right.
look at anything.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah. Totally. It kind of, I don't know, it kind of sets the pace, not to make a terrible pun, for the rest of the day. It just kind of, it
Yeah,
gives you a good foundation. You just feel good.
yeah,
Just feel
yeah,
good.
yeah.
A little
So,
bit less stress for sure.
but yeah, I mean, with so many things going on, you need that sort of, as you said, mental outlet. It just like gets unloads all that stuff out.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. And I like to the first marathon I ran, I was reading that the Murakami Haruki book, What I Talk About When I Talk About Running, which is a nonfiction about his training for marathon stuff and stuff. And I kind of identify with him too, because it was kind of the same way. Like, he's not a fucking great runner. He's mediocre at best, really, but the way he thinks about running and music and art kind of inspired me. So I kind of used that as my little training book. And then there was actually practical training advice in that book too. Um, so I'm actually keeping a blog. I haven't totally given up on blockchain. There's a site called Scorum,
Mm-hmm.
which is sports, all sports. It's like a sports-based Steam it. So a lot of my blockchain blogging energy is going into that right now, which is just a training blog for the Shizuoka thing. But like I said, I'm enjoying that. I'm not doing that to try to make a
Right, right.
living.
It's kind
So
of you're keeping a log of what you're doing.
yeah, yeah.
Eh,
But yeah, I don't know. Running's something that I never would have thought that I would be into, because I always just thought of it as some school competitive kind of thing,
right.
school sport. But this is, I don't know. It's become almost something creative, I guess, and gives me lots of space. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, good. I wish you luck. I mean, I need to motivate myself more to get out running on
Well,
days. Yeah.
I'm amazed at you guys that can do like the gym and lifting and stuff, because that's something that I don't understand the discipline like for that. Like, I almost have to have a big path and goal, and like,
Yeah.
I got friends that like lift and stuff, and that's like, wow.
Well, I have to change mine up because if I do the same routine, I'll get bored. Like I was doing the same routine for almost 2 years, and
Damn.
in October, I got burnt out. I could
Yeah.
I went there was like a 3 week period where I just didn't go, and I just don't want to go. I even considered canceling my membership and just buying a barbell just to practice at home. One is cheaper, but then I realized, you know what? If I don't set my exercise point to somewhere outside of where I live, it's not going to get done. Like
Yeah.
I have to have like the physical environment be different.
Yep.
And so I've just now changed it up to where I was going, 3-4 times a week, but now I'm trying to see if I can go 5 to 6 times a week, but focus more on certain areas. Like the 2 or 3 days I used to go before, I'd hit a bunch of areas in one day, and then wait a couple days and hit the other half of the body, like I do upper body, lower body.
Yeah.
But now I'm focusing. One day would be only like arms and core, and then the next day is legs only, and then shoulders. And so I'm going to the gym more often, so that's creating the habit there. And I'm doing
Right.
more. I wouldn't say isolation because I'm still doing barbell stuff, but I'm still trying to hit the entire body, and so that's actually it's my body's not used to that, so it's actually once you start hitting a plateau, like you don't grow much, but when you change something up radically, kind of
Yeah.
shocks your body into starting to grow again, and
Yeah.
two, it's just it's creating a little bit of motivation there,
For sure.
before
It
where
seems like it'd be more of a sustainable cycle too. Instead of just like blasting your whole body, then like taking a break
yeah,
to
yeah.
kind of keep that wheel rolling. Is there actually a term in lifting called muscle confusion? Or
I've
is that a thing? Or was that?
I've heard I know there's muscle memory.
Yeah, I know
There's
muscle
there's
memory.
muscle
Maybe
memory,
I
but
was watching some satire video about
mm,
lifting. I didn't know if it was from a real thing or not, but this guy's like, he was ripped. So it was like his video, but he's like, I practice muscle confusion. Like, I get all ready to go to the gym, and then I go there, and then instead I just have a cigarette and go party. It's like, it
oh,
was
okay.
a joke. It was a
Yeah, yeah.
joke, but I
But
just wondered if muscle confusion was actually a thing, like where you kind of gear up to do one thing, then surprise your body. I,
I don't know about that. It sounds like though, like kind of what I was saying. How
yeah, yeah,
if you
that's what.
change up your routine and do something completely different, it'll like shock it into
Yeah, shock you out of the
yeah,
plateau, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Now I mean I'm not like a huge super into it. There's all sorts of forums and bro science out there that people follow, and I just you know the people at the gym, there's really two ways you can go about it. There's powerlifting, which is for or strength training, I should say. There's more strength, and then there's more aesthetics, where people are looking to look bulky and muscly, and the two can be exclusive, or you can combine something with like a hybrid sort of way. And for me, I just want to be healthy,
Yeah.
and part of it is aesthetics. I mean, that's losing the bit of body fat that I still have, but that's just a personal goal. But
Well, yeah,
overall, yeah,
that's
overall, I'm not like some dudes spend 3 or 4 hours a day every day in the gym, and I don't see how they can do it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just, but if that's what they're passionate about, man, more power to them, I guess.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the fitness is a huge thing too, for sure. I mean, that's kind of a nice byproduct of running too. It's like I've lost a few pounds over the past few months, and like, yeah, you just start to feel a little bit better, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So,
actually, what's become quite popular in Utsunomiya in the past few years have been kickboxing gyms, like Muay Thai. Yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah,
I've considered joining something like that just to kind of change things up,
yeah. That would be awesome. That's a fucking workout too.
Yeah,
There's a few in Niigata too. It seems to be growing in popularity as well.
yeah. So
Kickboxing.
I might see if I join that and kick the bag a little bit, but
Yeah,
plus it teaches you self
self
defense at the
defense.
same time. Yeah, so
Become lethal and get fit. Yeah,
yeah, there
for
you go,
sure.
there you go. I definitely probably canceled the other gym membership though if I did that. Just I don't want to be paying double memberships,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but now, kind of branching away from the exercise or the that sort of thing, you started another new venture, right? Like your own sort of side business.
Yeah, just a little business,
Mm-hmm.
like nothing big. Just an eBay slash direct sale kind of toy company for like collectible video games, toys, and whatever kind of memorabilia from Japan.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's called Voluntary Toys. I started it actually a couple years ago, and then sold a few Famicom games, original Famicom, which for your audience in the U.S. that's Nintendo, but it's the
Mm.
Japanese version, family computer.
Yeah.
Sold some of those, and then it kind of just trailed off, and I thought, well, maybe that's not going to work. I don't know, but I never closed it down. And then when Steam it started to kind of get funky, and the crypto market did as well, I thought, well, maybe I'll try this again. And started doing that, and yeah, there's a million ways. Like I was inspired by Gary Vaynerchuk too. Just there's we have kind of a logistical advantage here in Japan, where like we can go to Daiso or the Hyakuen shop, the dollar shop, and you can pick up like a coloring book, like Doraemon or Pikachu, and some people in the States want those, and so like you can actually make a profit by providing them the service of sourcing that.
Yeah, yeah.
Where it seems ridiculous, like, but I've actually sold a couple of those, and so doing that, and then I also came across, it's fun to hunt in the resale shops. I found a really cool collectible Disney thing. I fucking hate Disney, but I found this really rare unopened Disney like diorama, and they were selling it for $2, 200 yen. And I looked it up online. It's worth like $150, but it was just this people's shop. So like, it's kind of like a hobby for me now. But it's something that if it does, work out, I'm hoping it's going to be an alternative source of income.
Right.
So I've got a Twitter for it. It's just I think it's at Toys Voluntary, and kind of combine it a little bit with the voluntarist philosophy. Not like preaching it at people, but just having that in the background as free trade and
exactly. Yeah, it's
not just on eBay. Like I tell people they could DM me if they want to do crypto purchase, and we'll work something out. But yeah, I got a friend named Amir. He's actually, where is he? Is he in Croatia? Amir Alzubi. He's a children's author, and so he's on Twitter as well, and so he writes children's books, and so we kind of are trying to help each other retweet and promote each other's ventures like that. He's got a big family. I forget how many kids, but he's been a big supporter of Voluntary Japan, and so then now he's kind of supporting the Voluntary Toys thing.
Well, that's cool.
But like he writes ANCAP books for kids. Like he sent one to my son, which was like about the inventor of the radio flyer.
Yeah.
Who was a poor guy from some European country, and he writes them for children to understand free market.
Oh man, that's
it's pretty sick. Like the shit.
I was gonna say that's great. Like
I have the books in the other room. It's pretty wild. Yeah, he's a super nice guy. So he kind of inspired me to try some other stuff and put some energy into that Voluntary Toys thing.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I know I've seen some of the like hobby shops even around here. I've seen still in the package. These were obviously American toys, but so they're more expensive here. But it was like the original, like late '80s, early '90s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figurines still in the package, unopened. And I looked down and it was only like 700 yen for it. And I didn't buy it because at the time I didn't even think. I was just like, oh, I remember this, and then I just kind of walked off. And then I was thinking, man, I should have bought that. I could make a dime off that, So
could have flipped that for sure.
Yeah. But they have random stuff there like that.
Yeah, it's like the hard off and the off house. I don't know if are those down.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. I spent some time in hard off a lot.
Yeah. Took me 3 years to get over that name.
Yeah.
So this for your viewers, there's a resale shop that's really nice and really clean and organized called Hard Off, which is funny in and of itself. But they know what's going on. Like their pricing is usually. Because they've got huge databases now, so like they're searching all the toys, but you can still find stuff even there when they get inundated. It's kind of in the back.
Yeah, like the used Famicom games are unreal how cheap they are, and there's stuff that I'd seen in like magazines as a kid. I was like, that's never coming to the U.S. And sure enough, I just came across it just the other day. It's like 200 yen. I go, fuck. You know, it's just right there,
Yep.
So.
Yeah, and they don't have time to check all the stuff that's in the junk section either. So like I bought a Super Famicom for like $5. It was from the junk section and plugged it in. It works. So
yeah, you didn't have
it's interesting, but like that
blowing.
Just blowing it a little bit.
Yeah.
That Disney thing though was at this kind of non-chain, mom and pop shop, and it was, they were just trying to get rid of it. So I was half expecting when they rang it up at the register that it's going to be like some huge price and the sticker on it was just an old one, but no, it was $2. The hardest thing about the toy shop though so far for me is finding the market. Like I have this stuff that I know it's worth because I'm watching other people sell it for this much, but finding like getting that exposure and
Just go to otaku forums on Reddit or something, and
yeah, I know that's what you need to do, right?
yeah,
So
you
I don't
gotta
know.
know
Yeah,
your audience, you know.
yeah, exactly. So it's fun. It's kind of on the back burner, but I also have a personal interest with my son and just being someone that loved fucking Nintendo and action figures, and
Yeah,
I just don't have time to spend on that now, and this kind of gives me an excuse to at least
yeah.
dip my toes into that world a little bit.
Man, that's gotta be great. Like showing your son like the games that you played, and just
Yeah, like he's a bigger Mega Man fan than I was now. Like I never would have predicted that.
yeah.
We busted out Rockman, which is what it's called here, and I was like, Daddy used to play this game all the time.
Hmm.
And then now, like, he knows more about it than me, and he's obsessed with it. And it's like I never could have predicted that back when I was, 9 or 10. Like,
Makes you feel good though, doesn't it?
yeah, it totally does.
Yeah,
It's like, and it makes you realize what a successful company Nintendo is to be like capture generation after the hearts and minds of
yeah.
generation after generation.
I mean, say what you will about Nintendo. Like I think some of their business practices are so out of date about some of their systems, like just their online stuff here. I mean, they're really kind of way behind
Are they?
Sony and Microsoft in that realm, but they have the name brand. Like people will buy the stuff regardless, and their first party games, like the ones that are Nintendo made, are still great. So
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
while on the technical side they're they have a lot of catching up to do, and the business practices are a little meh. They still put out quality games at least.
Yeah, I was.
Hmm.
I don't know too much about that. I know I was disappointed that I couldn't get GTA 5.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I
on
bought
Switch now, I
on
mean
Switch.
they have
You can get
more
it on
mature
Switch. We
games,
just bought
so
a Switch,
yeah.
but then I Googled it, and it's like I can't see how to get this because I guess there was some issue with the content or something.
Well, they have Skyrim on there, which is unedited.
Really?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, this is the first Nintendo system in a while that's allowing mature games on it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, maybe. Yeah, like we just got my son a Switch for his birthday, and I was like, half. It was like half, half excited. Like, yeah, I
Yeah,
can't
I get
wait.
to
We'll
play it
go to
too.
bed.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fucking shoot cops
Yeah.
and hang out and have fun playing GTA 5.
Oh
But
man, I've been all into Red Dead Redemption 2.
oh, dude, that game looks so awesome.
It
You
is.
have it?
Oh yeah, it's great. It's
Oh,
great.
killer. I've
Yeah.
been watching YouTube videos on it. Just like I don't even have a game system that.
Oh man, and I over the summer I bought an Xbox One X, which in Japan, it's abysmal, the sales. It's like 19 units sold last year. So
Wow.
yeah, like
Dang.
yeah, Microsoft has a shit market in this country, but you would think that would make the system cheaper, but it isn't. But I got that, but apparently for Red Dead Redemption 2, that's the best system for it.
Oh, cool.
And I put some money down, and I bought a nice 4K TV. So
Damn.
that looks amazing,
Oh,
and so
man.
it, like, you can get lost in that game. It's great.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Just the map and the landscape looks so awesome. Like I said, I can't even play it, but like I'm just transfixed by these YouTube videos. Like, oh my god, it
it's
looks so cool.
it's amazing. Yeah.
And
So
like the reputation and like the way like you develop your character
hmm
seems so cool. Like if you're an unsavory person, the way people will react to you differently and stuff.
oh yeah,
It's a
yeah.
neat concept.
Well, like, and you can form your own sort of morality too. So, you, I'll just give you like an example. There's random encounters you can have, and like there was a woman that was trapped underneath like her horse died and fell on top of her, and you have a choice of to leave her there or rescue her. Like
Yeah.
I chose to rescue her, just because the character I'm playing, is not a completely evil bastard,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
and
yeah.
then give her a ride back to her town, and you get obviously good reputation points for that. But um, another encounter I had was there's a guy who's bit by a rattlesnake, and he was laying on the side of the road dying, and he's like, "Hey, you gotta help me! You gotta help me!" And the
Yeah.
options are to suck out the venom yourself with your mouth,
Yeah.
and I just did him a favor. I just pointed the gun at him and shot him in the head. It's like, I just do you a favor, man. Like,
Oh my god.
yeah. So it's sort of like, sorry, friend. Boom. So because he was gonna die anyway, probably. So it's like, just save him some suffering. But you can do that sort of thing, and
Yeah.
just the random, like, some of the details of the game that are just so random that make you just sit there and think, wow, this is crazy how much they've put into it. Like, I was just riding along and a bird fell out of a tree dead and hit my guy. Like, the
So
bird just randomly died and it fell out of the tree, and you can pick it up, and I just stuffed it in my bag. So
sounds like yeah, it's getting closer and closer to the limitless permutations of real life, right? With
yeah.
just random shit happening.
Well, speaking of random shit, your horse shits. So
I
you
saw that. I
yeah
did see that. Yeah.
yeah
I
and it
watched one video that was cracking me up, man. Maybe it's because it was late, but it had me almost in tears. It was like, we're gonna see. I think they're gonna release the next one soon too. It's like, I forget which channel, but like, we're gonna see how much of a rat bastard we can make our character. Like, they made him as dirty and stinky and rude as possible.
yeah.
Like, every interaction was an insult. Just killing random people, starting fights everywhere they went. Games like that are such a catharsis sometimes. It's just
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
some of the brutality in the game, I like. I'm not squeamish about stuff, but some of the stuff you can do in that, it left me sort of like,
Really?
damn. Yeah, so
Maybe I haven't seen it. Oh wow,
like, you
that's
can
crazy.
rob a train, right? And you
Yeah.
can rob individual people on the train. And there was a video I saw where this guy would just go through, and every person, they would say, please, please, just take whatever I have. They give him the money, and then he'd just take a shotgun and just blast their face off. And you're just like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
oh
yeah.
God, like, it's
I did
it's
see some of
horrible,
those
yeah.
headshots. That was nasty. Yeah,
Mm.
yeah,
And but to me, what I think one of the best systems on there is, if you commit a crime, the wanted, like, the
yeah.
wanted, it's like a wanted meter, really.
Like a
And
level. Yeah.
yeah, and depending on the severity of the crime, you get you could get a bounty placed on you. So if you
Right.
kill any lawman, you get a wanted dead or alive sort of, and bounty hunters will come after you. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's a really fun game, but
that's cool.
uh,
Yeah, back in the day when I was playing GTA 3, I think I didn't really do the missions so much, but like I just play sometimes for fun and see like how many wanted stars I could get and pull up in the corner of a bank and see how long I could last, when the feds and helicopters come. But yeah, the Red Dead Redemption, man, that's or 2 is like it's something else for sure.
yeah,
And I guess there was some issue on YouTube. Did you hear about that? Videos being pulled because of uh, guys were making videos. They were pretty distasteful for sure, but it was like where they're just killing women on the game and like
hmm.
because you can play live online, right? So like some
Not
of these.
not yet, not yet. It's
Oh, you
coming.
can't. Okay.
Well, it's coming soon. You eventually will be able to, but it's not out yet.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it must have been a fake scenario because they were saying these are feminist players, but these guys were saying, "Oh, this is a feminist," and like hog tying women and dragging them behind their horse and all kinds of stupid shit. Which I'm not laughing because that's funny, but I'm laughing because if you saw the game, it's just fucking
Oh,
stupid
I'm
and
laughing
funny.
because it's funny, because that's how all feminists should be treated.
There you go. Well,
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess there was a big stink on YouTube, and some things got pulled or edited. So I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that surprises me. The only censorship I've heard of YouTube doing that is from Rockstar. Like, some gameplay footage leaked before the game was released, and they took it down.
Oh yeah,
But that's obvious. That I haven't
yeah,
heard. Yeah. Doesn't surprise me though with YouTube, honestly. So,
yeah, yeah.
but
Anyway, I don't know. Someday, Red
but
Dead Redemption 3 comes out. I'm gonna
oh
play it.
man, that at that point you can be
It's
in
gonna
the
be
game.
VR.
You could live the game, But
Yeah,
it's no, it's great, especially you had a stressful day, and but the game itself is not really fast paced. It's really slow. Like it takes a while to do everything. There is fast travel, but you have to work to do it, and it's not exactly instant.
yeah.
Everything goes at a you know 19th century pace pretty much. So even though you can do a lot of horrendous stuff, you can do a lot of cool stuff, and it's just at the end of the day, it's actually quite a relaxing game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It
and
seems like it. It seems like it could be quite addictive.
yeah, so that's why I regulate it to only when I come home after I come home from work. Oh, there's nothing else to do. I've taken care of everything. All right, now I can fire it up.
Yeah, that's the
Because
best time.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
best time to play. You know what? I don't like what I saw. Like everything looked cool, except he needs to smoke his cigarettes longer, and he needs to drink his booze longer. Like he takes one puff and throws them on the ground.
yeah. Well, I mean, you actually can. I maybe I haven't tried the cigarettes yet, but with the booze, you actually get at least 3 or 4 drinks, and it depends on how
Oh,
hard
really?
yeah how hard you press the button. So
Oh,
yeah,
really?
the
Interesting.
camp I was at was having a party, and you can get a beer, and if you just tap the button, he just takes a swig, right?
Yeah.
If you press it down quite hard, he'll just like down the whole fucking bottle.
Sh-
So
Shotgun it, yeah, or
there,
crush it, yeah.
there's quite a funny mission where you take one of your buddies and you just get shit faced at the saloon, and it gets so bad that they end up fighting each other just because they're drunk. But then you lose your friend and you try to look for him, but every patron in the saloon, including the women, look like your
Yeah.
friend. And so you
But
have to go up and drunkenly ask them, "Are you my friend?" And it's you end up getting in like a bar fight and getting thrown out into the mud, and the police chase after you, and it's a fun type mission. Like you don't kill anybody,
yeah,
you just
go get
have
drunk.
yeah, yeah. But then there's like some dark stuff, like a prostitute asked for your help because the John she was with was trying to
I
kill
saw,
her.
yeah, I saw a
Yeah,
clip of that
and and
mission. I think.
and she ends up killing him, and she asks you to dispose of the body, and you have to take it to the pig pens out back. So, if you
Nice.
ever see the show Deadwood, you know how that's how a way to dispose of some bodies is throw them to the pigs.
From pigs, yeah,
Yeah. But no, man, it's great. It's a fun game. So if you ever get a chance, try it out.
definitely. I
Yeah.
will definitely want to try it out for
Mm.
sure.
So you've had a stressful October, is that right?
Yeah, it's been crazy stressful. Yeah,
Would you care to divulge what exactly
yeah,
happened and
yeah,
why and
definitely.
how it got into that situation?
I would love to. Yeah. Well, at the beginning of October, I was it. Yeah, end of September.
Hmm.
I got a contact from someone I didn't know on Facebook, and they said, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about Adam Kokesh." Smiley face, and I thought, okay, this is probably one of I. For some background for your viewers, I've been critical of Adam Kokesh's 2020 presidential campaign for 2 years now, basically, because in my view, it's directly opposed to voluntaryist principle, and I think he's kind of something of a scam artist. Now I think he's a total con artist and a dangerous person. But at that time, I just was writing articles, kind of exposing some stuff about the campaign, and that resulted in their campaign actually losing funding on Steemit, which was their main source of income at that time, which is kind of stupid for a campaign, but they were making a lot of money. They had a delegation of, I think it was $500,000. So basically, what they could do is upvote their own content, which they did heavily, and just basically it pay themselves through this delegation from quite a wealthy libertarian guy that wanted to support them. And I know this guy and I like this guy, and he saw my articles, and Kokesh started doing some questionable stuff on Steemit, some abusive behavior on the platform. That combined with my writing resulted in this huge delegation being pulled back to some extent. Then the campaign begged the guy, please, give us another chance, whatever. That's kind of the backstory. I got contacted by this person who said, I'm an info security expert, kind of like a hacker, kind of like a white hat hacker, but actually just infosec, with some ties to some pretty remarkable, I guess, firms and people that have capabilities to do some really nasty doxing, hacking, character assassination, up to and including like bugging of cars and shit like that.
Wow. Yeah.
And they said, I didn't know what to believe at first, but they said you were targeted by the Kokesh campaign. Their chief political strategist, Ben Farmer. Here's the screenshots of him talking to me. They presented you as a really evil guy who was costing them tons and tons of money. And so I thought you were some government agent or some overseas hacker, and I was going to take you out, like cyber terror or whatever. Ruin my life through, stealing financial information, harassing me and my family, up to and including physical intimidation, potentially. And I was like, holy shit, I couldn't believe it. I saw the screenshots, and I, kind of had to vet this infosec person because I don't know who they are. Like, are they lying to me? Is it like 4D chess? Is the Kokesh campaign trying to get me to freak out and make up, say, I've been stalked? Just crazy shit. So I asked Ben Farmer about it. I said, hey, these screenshots I got, is this you? I didn't make an accusation, and I was immediately blocked. So then I went to the press secretary, was blocked. He called me a troll, and I don't know. There's so much shit. I don't want to ramble and talk too much because it probably sounds confusing, but basically they all denied it. Well, they didn't deny it. It's just danced around it, saying that it's a lie, and also they didn't know about it at the same time, which in order for something to be a lie, you have to know about it and investigate it, right?
Right.
And then I got information that I can't divulge because people released it to me in confidence, even conversations with Ben Farmer, his reaction to this stuff. So I pretty much know that they're guilty. And so it was a month of just trying to get this information out there. And thankfully I had some help from Larkin Rose, who has a huge audience, which and it lended credibility to me because just me every day ranting on Facebook Live about how I was targeted, while there might be some great, good people out there that are going to actually listen, a lot of people, especially Kokesh supporters, were like, well, what the hell are you talking about? But more and more people started to see, more evidence surfaced. I was then able to release a video of this InfoSec's phone and the Signal app opening and the conversation and the artifacts, the digital artifacts of scrolling through a conversation. So it's like pretty damning, right? But even now they haven't said anything except to kind of mock and block. And Kokesh himself, has called it lies and has blocked me. And but at the same time, he said the other day, I can't say if they were fabricated or not. And I asked.
It seems a bit fishy right there,
Yeah. Oh, it's totally. I mean, they're doing everything. Like I said, I have no doubt. Plus, they have a track record of intimidating women and children, and these are all screenshotted as well.
Yeah.
But they just managed to slip out of every scam somehow. And this time it's not going to happen, and it hasn't happened. This one kind of took the cake. But yeah, basically all that stuff came out, and I asked, to kind of tie this up here, this summary up, I asked the white hat hacker, the InfoSec person, what would have been done to me had this been successful, had you not seen that I was not an evil guy and done the right thing,
right?
Which this person did, and I thanked them, and I think they're a good person. They're not hacking good people. They just were exploited by the campaign. But this person gave me a huge list, which, I tell people when I was reading it, like the hair on the back of my neck stood up. Like, people actually do this shit to people?
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty naive, I guess. I know that shit's real, but it's like, it involved systematically destroying my personal relationships. Like, things like, maybe putting shit in my computer, maybe making my wife think that I'm cheating on her, maybe up to and including stealing my financial data, stealing money from me. And in the screenshots, Ben Farmer said about me, I can only reach him digitally, so I need your help. Which, to anyone that can read between the lines, like, well, how are we reaching each other right now? Why would you need to reach me physically? And what are you going to do? And the description the InfoSec gave me was pretty much up to and including, like, even physical harassments and threats, and digital kidnapping, taking my kid's picture and using it on porno sites, or using it for scams, like shit like that. So
God, that'd make me
I've
furious,
been
dude.
just infuriated.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, well, you've been so calm on the Facebook videos. It's like, yeah, but I'm not fucking sleeping. I fucking hate these guys. Like, I even went so far as to tell a diehard Kokesh disciple, I was like, if he would just face me directly and say, we did this, I can't believe it, I'm sorry, I would never forget what they did, but that would at least have some semblance of honor to it.
Right.
And this, now, he's back on the campaign trail trying to collect money again. The good news is his reputation is pretty much shot in the dick now, and wherever they're trying to go, like, people are refusing to debate with him.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean,
Patrick Smith has been a big help. He did a really unbiased analysis of the evidence, like really balancing. Well, Graham could have technically fabricated this, but this doesn't look so easy to fabricate. But what it made me realize was how many people are not honest. I've never been political, but I don't trust people that are actively seeking to do things for the Libertarian Party anymore. And a lot of voluntarists, I think, I had people messaging me that I didn't know trying to stand up for Adam, like strangers. It was bizarre. Like, I know what they did was wrong, but he's really struggling right now. So, I just started blocking people.
Yeah, I was going to say.
These are voluntarists. Finally, thank goodness he's not going to be going to Anarcho-Capitalism this year, which is a big thing that I was waiting on, because people have lots of opinions about those people and Jeff Berwick, and I have my own too.
Well, that's what I was. Sorry to interrupt you. That's what I was going to ask.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you said you had like some support from Larkin Rose. I know that Jeff Berwick was informed about this. What was his stance on it? Do you know? Or
he didn't take one for until his hand was forced. But to his credit, he took the right stance.
Yeah.
He was busy though too. So, and I don't know Jeff. I know a lot of the rumors and stuff, and people say he's a scammer and shit like that. I don't know the full story, but
are you talking about the
Gulch?
Yeah, in Chile. Yeah.
And that I had guys from that start to text me and say, "Well, don't just attack Adam. Expose all these other people too." Like, writing me novels about. It was just a crazy month,
man.
But yeah, finally, Berwick said, the answer Kokesh gave was not satisfactory, so he's not going to be there. And I think that's going to send a big message to people. But it really was a wake-up call at how many people, for me, regarding how many people think for themselves and how many people just are fans.
Yeah.
Because I had a whole lot of people that I thought would have spoke up and been really, like, vocal, that were just dead quiet because they were afraid of stepping on toes, because they were friends with Adam. And so I was really kind of depressed for a long. Yeah.
You have to know Adam's track record, though. I mean, this isn't the first time he's done some
hell
shit,
no.
I mean, he's been a
shit.
snake for a long time, and there's a lot of people in the voluntarist, libertarian community that know full well what he's done, and
yeah,
it's just it's weird how just because he had the Adam versus the Man show a
Yeah,
long time ago, like he still gets, supporters from that. So it's
yeah.
hmm.
And the other part of me was like, always in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, how does he get out of all these serious charges that he gets? He gets these felony drug possessions, racking a shotgun in Freedom Plaza, and he never seems to get sentences that stick. And so then I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to fuck with this at
Yeah.
all. Like, is he somebody's asset?
Well,
But
he
then
he
you,
had an ankle bracelet for a
yeah,
couple years, I
that's
think. But
true.
no,
But then
you know,
you look at these guys, and they're desperate. They're just like a crew of roving, like con artists, really, like
mhm.
grifters. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like they stepped into the deep end of the pool on accident. They were trying to play like the big boy DNRs and got with someone that's not an asshole, and that someone told me, "Hey, this is what happened." So for me, it's been like I fucking want justice, and like,
Right.
well, what is justice? Well, for me, I guess it would be just that the truth comes out, that it's exposed. But he'll never admit it. Um,
Yeah.
but like you said, there's a, you've got the Mulligan Mint, that whole thing, with the, I guess, coins that were supposed to be gold. People got a bunch of copper coins with Adam's face on them. Um, you got the Shield Mutual, I guess, was the libertarian insurance company that they didn't pay. Um, Tatiana Moroz was threatened by Adam via Ben Farmer. They didn't deny that. They corroborated that. That's all screenshotted on Facebook. Um, Adam says you have 24 hours to take back the lies and vitriol you said about him. Hashtag time's up. This shit is like
Yeah.
messaging the 9-year old son of his staffer, pressuring the kid, saying, "I don't want your parents to go to jail, so they need to do the right thing. I know your parents are trying to screw me." Like, he's a piece of shit, but like,
Yeah.
somehow or another,
Do you
he
think?
retains a following.
Do you think? Now, this could just be a theory here, but do you think at any point it could be symptoms of like PTSD, cause him just to fucking go go insane or what? I don't know, but he
Uh,
very well could have PTSD. I think he's
yeah.
admitted he does, right?
To be honest, though, I think he is just has NPD, toxic narcissism. To be honest,
Hmm.
and I'm not the only one that kind of said that, but that could also be related to the war as well. But the interesting thing was, as a Marine, I don't think he. I had another anonymous source mail me and say he never saw combat. Then again, he was doing psyops, torturing people. That's his own
Hmm.
his own admission. So like, it's not too far afield of his expertise, I guess.
Well,
I have said I think he needs help,
yeah.
for sure. He's a compulsive liar and very charismatic. And the book Freedom is not, it's not wrong really as far as voluntarists go. But what I'm trying to tell people is politicians always say the right thing and
Hmm.
then do
The
the
wrong.
other thing. So that's been the response from a lot of people. But freedom, but the book.
Hmm.
Hey, but people don't listen to his words. We did a debate together, and he suggested fingerprinting homesteaders under his non-government. First, first you got to collect a thumbprint before you can homestead. And I'm like, is anyone hearing this? Like, this is
What
not.
was his reasoning behind it?
I to somehow fairly divvy up the land of national parks, but like the whole thing from the
It sounds a
beginning,
bit socialist right there.
it's totally socialist.
Yeah.
But he's good at talking and deflecting, and it sounds like there's no break. But if you actually listen, then you'll start to see all the inconsistencies. But
Right.
yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if I did the situation justice at all. But the whole thing just exploded, and I've finally kind of found peace with. I haven't given up. It's been exposed. There is some legal action being taken.
Hmm.
But it just began to consume my life because I was so angry.
Well, you had a
And
right to
I,
be. I mean, your
yeah,
family's safety was in jeopardy.
yeah, and but the most infuriating thing for me is that he's pretending to be a voluntarist.
Yeah.
He's using this storefront of self-ownership, and and there's legions of, well, maybe not legions anymore, but people that say, well, if you criticize him, you're being divisive. And so many of us are trying to say it's not divisive if we're calling out a snake in the grass. He's
Right.
not a voluntarist. He's not within the circle. I don't know. His whole story is fucked up. I think his dad has a history of being a con man too, and but yeah, it was surreal, Shay, because I never thought I was just writing fucking blogs.
Right.
I thought
Yeah.
I'm annoying these guys. That's cool, but I never thought that. I didn't realize Steemit was their whole income. I didn't realize that they were going to try to, hire some cyber pro to take me out. Like,
That
it
sounds
just
like,
seems
some weird, like some sort of TV drama,
yeah.
with psyops and all that. It's like, really? I mean, were you that much of a hindrance to his campaign that he had to send cyber security after you? Like,
Yeah. It's
okay,
pretty, yeah.
okay, dude, whatever. So
Exactly. So yeah, I don't know. I'm happy to see that a lot of people. I'm still cruising the comments sections here and there, and my one Twitter account that he hasn't blocked, I kind of see what's going on over there every now and then. It seems like people are consistently asking about the situation now.
that's
Like,
good. Yeah, at least
and
it hasn't died down.
yeah, and big thanks to Larkin Rose, but it's totally bizarre, man. So after all that, going back to teaching was kind of like, okay.
Just a yeah, just a
Screw
sort
all
of
this shit.
relief in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and like I said, there's evidence that hasn't been released. I don't feel I need to really prove anything anymore. I don't know. They're never going to admit it. But they've pretty much painted themselves into a corner. I mean, the press secretary's official response was, "Little man in Japan." I mean, if that tells you, like, that's the press secretary for a presidential campaign.
Yeah.
Like, these guys are losers. Like, they're a ragtag team of dudes that Kokesh has scraped together and given them titles like
Press
director
secretary.
of tech or press secretary. It's like, you know. So they all hate me. So I feel I've done my job. That's all I really wanted, was to show that he wasn't a voluntarist. And
Well, hey, I mean, I think the evidence speaks for itself at this point. You've presented it, and people are still asking him about it. It's definitely hurt his campaign, but it's his own doing, It's like karma coming back to get him.
yeah, and that's the other thing. I always want to say to people, like, especially as supporters, like, quit trying to get me to accept this. I'm not trying to get anyone to accept anything, but please look at it and make up your own mind. Don't just do the knee-jerk smear campaign.
Right. I mean, what exactly do you have to gain from trying to falsely smear him? It's like there's not a you don't really gain anything from it. So
Yeah, the campaign's been saying attention from the beginning. His supporters, you just want attention. It was like, why would I want this kind of attention? And that's, how does that help me do what I want to do?
Exactly.
I'm not making money from my videos. I'm not making money on Steemit really anymore. Like, they have a lot to lose, I guess, if their whole paycheck was coming from one donor, and the donor was a half decent dude, and he finally pulled all of it back. So, they're calling me a troll and stuff, but people should look to that donor that gave him $500,000. Why did he take it away? Is he a troll too?
Exactly.
So,
well,
I don't know, man. It's
nothing but positive things from here on out. So
yeah,
because you're focusing on the marathon right now. That's clearing out a lot of stuff. So, what lies ahead? Do you have any big plans for Voluntary Japan in the near future, or is it just sort of taking it as it goes at this point?
As for big plans, just focusing on unschooling, really.
Yeah.
my son's about to start at a free school um, next April. But that's not the only reason. But I've just kind of viewed that in light of all this madness, especially, as maybe the most practical thing I could do to help spread voluntarism and the principles is by not raising the next generation of human beings to view slavery as normal, murder as acceptable. And it's just been striking me more and more recently how powerful that is. That, wow, maybe my son can grow up, maybe these other kids can grow up looking at things like taxation and saying, wait, what? That's so fucked up that people used to do that.
Yeah.
Because really, you can argue with people on the internet all day. You might change one or two minds, but I see the unschooling thing as such a powerful way to peacefully take a real practical slice out of the state's power. So I want Voluntary Japan to focus on that. I'm posting on Steemit, Patreon, Twitter, but like I said, I've kind of downshifted a bit, so I'm not posting 3 or 4 times a day. But
Right.
I think the focus is going to be unschooling, cryptocurrency, like agorism. I know we were going to hang out in October.
Right.
Didn't quite work out, but Nick Sikorsky came up from Nagano,
Okay.
brought some of his organic vegetables from his farm,
Nice.
cooked some venison. It was pretty interesting. So we're focusing on community building and direct action, and that kind of family and friendship thing. And so I feel like this whole Kokesh thing almost was kind of a much needed thing that kind of really shifted my focus back away from the sensational bullshit back to, okay, what can I really do?
Yeah.
Not that I was ever a sensationalist, but you know what I mean. Trying to be part of that world versus,
Right.
fuck this.
Actually,
I'm going to focus on my...
Putting it into practice, you know. So,
Yeah.
one thing I'm curious. I don't know how much personal information, how much you'd want to show it, but a lot of people would be curious to see what a free school is like. Do you plan on? Is there any sort of rules that they have where about filming it, or, I mean, obviously there's other people's children and stuff, but is there any way to show what goes on there without exposing like the personal information of others and stuff? Because I think a lot of people would be curious as to see how one of those schools operates.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah.
I've done a few posts on it, but I haven't done anything like that, like in-depth. I think I just have to get the permission from the parents, which
Right.
would probably be pretty easy to do, I imagine.
Mm-hmm.
I posted a video of them before, but that was in a public place. So, but yeah, that's a good idea. I might do something like that. So far, all I've posted is just like their artwork and
Yeah.
what we've done. But
Like a
what
day,
what-
like a day in the life of a unschooler or something, just
that would be great.
like a video series or something. I don't know. I mean, that's something I'd be curious to see.
Yeah, no, that's probably where it's at. Actually, that's what people would, yeah, really like to see, how it works. Because I know, I don't know if I mentioned last time, maybe I did, but like even my parents didn't understand really. But the school allowed me to come speak to the Japanese dads because they were kind of skeptical, and I was a licensed teacher, so they really wanted all those questions asked as well, like, are there classes? What do they do? How is it different from a public school? So that's definitely something I should do. It's a good idea. And basically how it's different is that instead of bells ringing and you got to stop what you're doing, you choose what you want to do, and you do that for as long as you want. You can still use public school textbooks if you want, but there is structure there. Everyone kind of participates. So, yeah,
It's freer than a public school, though. Like,
yeah, it's totally free. Actually, I mean, you don't like. My thinking is, my son likes it because the kids there and the people there. But if he didn't want to go there, we'd figure something else out.
right.
But yeah, I mean, it's you decide what you want to study. Like they've got kids there at 8 years old making like life plans on a big poster until you're 80. Like, what do you,
Wow. Have they?
it's
Are they?
probably not going to work out like exactly like that, but
Yeah.
they're already
But they're
thinking,
planning. Yeah.
yeah,
Are they reading Jordan Peterson at age 8 or something? You know.
clean your room. Yeah, no, they're so like what they do there is they take it really easy on kids up until like age 12, and then they get out the belt and start beating them. No, they
Welcome to life. You know.
yeah, this is life. Deal with it. They just at that point they say, okay, what do you want to do? Are you looking to go to college or not? What kind of career do you want to have? And then they kind of get serious like that. So as for my son, he has the opportunity to check out the public school,
Yeah.
and I told him, if you want to go and you like it, that's fine. I think you're probably not going to like it because he's pretty high energy, and one of his main complaints about the kindergarten that he sometimes goes to was they don't let him finish his Lego pyramids because the period ends. And I'm telling him, like, that's how it's going to be at school. It's you get into physics, and then physics period's over, then you've got to wrench your attention away from that and become interested in something else, and highly unnatural. So
Yeah.
whole thing's a big adventure. I don't know, but yeah, doing a day in the life is a super good idea. I'll see if I can make that happen for sure.
Yeah, and even just like short vlogs or something would be interesting too. You know. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
totally.
yeah, like I said, I'd like to see that just to see any tactics that I could use with some of my classes or something just
For sure.
be as least intrusive as I can on the direction of where they want to go with what they're doing.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
I think I mentioned John Holt last time.
You may have, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's how children learn, how children fail. That was his struggle. He was a public school teacher, and he's writing books about how he can least interfere with kids, and some of the stuff he wrote was pretty moving, like talking about how adults tend to try and hide their emotions from kids and always keep an even keel.
Hmm.
That actually creeps kids out. They actually, it does, right? I mean, you had that teacher that you knew was just boiling under the surface, and they're like,
Mm.
so he writes about losing his shit with the kids, and the kids laugh smiling because they finally saw, and having talks like that with kids, like, you're not scared? Like, no, we know you're mad. Why don't you just show it? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, cool stuff for sure.
Well, I mean, it's also good to show. I mean, it's not really good to get scary, like scary
No, no,
angry at little kids, but at the same time, it's good to show them that it's okay to express their emotions and not bottle everything up either.
that's
You
it.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
So if you're
yeah.
happy, show you're happy. If you're sad, show you're sad. If you're angry, maybe control it a little bit, but
Well, yeah, you don't unleash on kids, but
you know.
but I mean, like, just even just saying I feel angry right now, and
Yeah.
that's all I mean. Like, I don't mean throwing the kids at the wall, but but yeah, but like
Yeah.
Holt's students would say, like, yeah, your face is turning red. Why are you trying to smile and act pleasant? We know you're pissed off right now,
Right.
and so that kind of liberation for me is the main thing about the free school and unschooling, is where you're not trying to live up to this kind of robotic mask that everyone's expected to wear, So
Well,
yeah,
that's
but I
good,
think
man.
I think that's going to be the focus. So
Well, cool. Well, I'm curious to see it, and I definitely think you could enlighten a lot of people with that because a lot of people may feel the same way, but they're like, I don't know where to find one of these places or what to do or how it is, so it could just shine a light into that system and get more people curious about it, I think.
cool, yeah, yeah. There's these Jiu-Gakko are actually everywhere. So I think you have a point there. A lot of people don't know. And a lot of people think they're just for like learning disabled children
Hmm.
or problem children, the problem child. But actually, there's a lot of them around that really are just a bit more flexible than the public school. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, great. I'm looking forward to it, and I hope your issues with a Mr. AK is has sailed.
Kokesh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
Cokehead. Is that what you call him, Cokehead?
I call him Kokesh.
Oh, Coke Rash. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah, which
yeah.
is ironic for some reasons. I was using that name for a long time as a joke, but anyway, well, I won't get into that.
Okay, okay.
uh, but yeah, actually, I think that's been a great thing too. It's been blown wide open, and so yeah,
Y-
now time to move the energy to something positive, though. Running and free schooling and selling toys.
Exactly. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
let
So
that'll be the fallout.
yeah, if you would, just tell everyone where they can find the voluntary toys and your scorum as well.
Yeah, what is the scorum? Voluntary Toys is just on Twitter, so that's at Toys Voluntary, and there's links to the eBay shop in there.
Okay.
Scorum, my name is Running Japan 77. You can find me there. Um, yeah, and Voluntary Japan, there's a Voluntary Japan official account on Steemit still, which is still active, and I'm also over on Patreon. I do some exclusive content there, and then I pretty much put all my Steemit posts and free schooling posts on the Patreon account as well. And YouTube, as much as I hate to say it, is still it's where the whole thing started, and
Yeah.
it's useful and it works for me, and they haven't kicked me off yet. So
Yeah.
um, YouTube channel is Voluntaryist Japan because that was when I started it. I didn't know I was going to name it, but if you search Voluntary Japan, it'll pop up.
Okay. Well, Graham, thank you again. You're always welcome back. And um, anything else you wanna say before we end this one?
I don't think so. I hope I didn't ramble too much, man.
No, no, it's good. I like
All right.
I like guests that have something to talk about, and you're very interesting to hear. And I just know um, from feedback I've gotten from listeners is they really enjoyed the last one we did.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah,
Well, thank you so much for having me on. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, man.
yeah. No worries. Take it easy, man.
You too.
All right.